Accelerate the development of your team at work. Get a mentor or a coach to support them. Choose the wrong solution and they'll leave. You'll waste money and nobody will want your help. The right solution can accelerate your team.
There is a simple way to decide which will work, but let's make sure we understand the two solutions first.
Later on, there will be a single unifying factor which both mentors and coaches need in order for them to be successful. But it's important to understand their role first.
A mentor is usually a more experienced member of a team who participates in confidential support and advisory meetings with the person they work with, the mentee.
The mentor can deliver a variety of ways to enhance the development of the person they work with, helping them with unfamiliar processes, act as a sounding board for ideas, and create opportunities for connection and networking.
And there is a phenomenal secret benefit we see from this process. In fact, it turns up more and more in the sessions we run, the reverse mentoring process.
This is a great result of the intergenerational teaching that takes place between a younger team member and older members, where they exchange information about technology in a reciprocal relationship with their peers.
Mentoring is usually conducted over a longer period of time. There is potential for relationships to grow and develop with time, and the gains for an individual can be both progressive and sometimes unplanned too. It all starts with establishing the main objective of your initiative. First, ask yourself what you hope to achieve. Are you striving for a more inclusive internal culture, promoting diversity and inclusion?
At Let's Talk Talent, we love data. That's why before setting anything in motion, we ensure there is a clear way to measure success. You should start the mentoring planning process by establishing your benchmarks and defining your objectives. Also, consider what other activities you need in order to support your mentoring program's delivery. For example, do you need a communication plan to roll out the program? Or do your mentors need support too? Can you define what that is?
At this point, it's really important to examine whether you have a good pairing in place. This critical failure upsets so many mentoring programs. A way you can think of this is, does the mentor have the ability to relate to the mentee? It can be really little details, like they both love road cycling, or in their coffee break, or absolute board game addicts. You should sound those similarities out and lock them in with them.
And although we don't want mentor programs to be utterly nailed down with structured sessions, it's great for a mentor if they have a handy list of resources that the company offer, as well as external suppliers. Guardrails of information, if you like.
If the whole mentoring project starts with a slow warm-up and time given for everyone to get to know each other, you can usually supervise the process with just a few check-ins. And these programs tend to run themselves.
Mentoring is usually an internal process, so that means it can cost less than coaching, but there's a payoff here. You must make sure the employees involved in this process have the time off to effectively conduct the mentoring and experience it. Otherwise, it won't be worth it or achieve what you need.
Usually, coaching is a single focus exercise. There is a concept that the coach helps to identify and address. But the better way to think of this is, if there was one thing you can enhance in your working life, what would it be?
Absolutely. And the advantage of a coach for a manager is that the crisis, stress, or simply challenging situation could be overwhelming in the whole, but when dissected by an experienced coach, suddenly becomes much more manageable.
In fact, it's not just individuals who can be coached. You can get real benefit from employing coaches to work with groups and identify obstacles that, when worked out collaboratively, can be resolved much more easily.
Now, that unifying factor, both mentoring and coaching, need to be successful and worth it. All of these activities must be conducted in a safe space with absolute confidence in the confidentiality and safety of the process. A great example of this is where an individual was trying to undertake a coaching call virtually from a cafe. Obviously, they were distracted, conscious of what they were saying, and ended up with the coach rearranging the call.
My example is somebody who had been told by their manager that they needed coaching. They weren't taken on a journey. They were in effect told that they needed to develop themselves rather than given the time to really understand the benefits for them and coaching.
So I've got a really great example of this actually. Someone who had approached me initially for coaching, and what actually transpired throughout our first couple of sessions is that they wanted a lot of advice from me. It was constantly asking me about how I would do something, what I might recommend they should do next. And that really fundamentally, as a coach, is something that I would never do and is not considered best practice.
If you feel your managers and leaders need help and support in getting better in their coaching and mentoring, check out our management development video next.